Today on Western Sports Roundup, we continue our coverage with giving you as much info as we can about the EHV-1 outbreak. Today on the show, we will talk to the state of Nevada's veterinarian to get the latest updates on what's going to be required to get to Las Vegas.
We're also going to talk a little bit about a 16-time Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. He's a world champion and a 2-time champion in the tie-down roping at the American. We're going to release some great information today and talk with Shane Hanchey himself about what it's like to win that big title.
And when you look at the field of bull riders that's headed to Las Vegas in the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, almost half of them are NFR first-timers. One of those first-timers, Jesse Petri, will join us on today's show.
Let's go. Play on the corner. Come on, Petri. Come on, Petri. 6, 7, 8. Oh, my.
Welcome to Western Sports Roundup. As always, we're proud to remind you that the Cowboy Channel is the exclusive home of the PRCA, your destination for the very best in rodeo action.
And we've got big news for our fans. Western Sports Roundup will now be simulcast live on YouTube. That means you can watch the show in real time on both the Cowboy Channel and our YouTube live stream, giving you even more ways to stay connected with us and to Western Sports. And, of course, some breaking news here on the Cowboy Channel and Western Sports Roundup today. We've got a couple cancellations to tell you about. One of those, this just announced, the all-in barrel race and breakaway that was scheduled to take place during the National Finals Rodeo for this 2025 season is canceled. All refunds must be submitted by November the 28th. Of course, you can go to their website to find out more information about that, but that is one of the events that has gotten canceled that was supposed to take place in Las Vegas during the NFR.
This also includes their ultimate calf roping. They said due to the overwhelming amount of rollovers we have received, it makes zero economic sense to go on with the event with so few contestants competing. They went on to say as well, we put it in the hands of the contestants to choose to have this event or not. We believe this was the best possible outcome for the overall safety of the equine athletes. That is Chris Woodruff from All In Barrel Race, and that is what they had to say on social media, and you can see plenty more information, again, thanks to All In.
This is kind of a continuing developing story, though. We do remind you that the BFA, the Barrel Fraternities of America, which got canceled last week as it was taking place there in Guthrie, they have made the decision to completely cancel the remainder of the show. They were trying to think about rescheduling it or postponing it, but BFA has announced now that they are canceling the remainder of the show. Now, what is in progress is the BFA horse sale that was supposed to take place up there. We may have some more information on that later this week, or maybe even get a chance to talk with them next week, but they are trying to reschedule that BFA sale. As far as states with confirmed EHV-1 cases, this is what is up to date right now. Now, these numbers are sometimes a little confusing because some may not get reported yet or things like that. Of course, you can visit equinediseasecc.org for the latest information. But as you can see right there, Texas leading the way with most confirmed cases of EHV-1 at 15. Of course, Oklahoma's got a handful of them at 5. Louisiana, New Mexico, Arizona, Washington, Colorado, South Dakota, all with confirmed cases of the EHV-1 virus. That is the latest up to date that we can share with you for now. Well, with all this EHV-1 going on, and of course all the big events about to get underway in Las Vegas, in and around the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, we figured it was very fitting to bring in the state veterinarian of the state of Nevada. Dr. Peter Rolfe joins us. Dr. Rolfe, thank you for joining us. And I want to kind of clear the air first off, because there's things all over social media, obviously, that might be true, that might not be true, but I want you to clarify as far as what you guys have done for state guidelines of state of Nevada as far as folks coming to Las Vegas, the Wrangler NFR, and all the events that are taking place there.
Sure, and thanks for your time. I appreciate being here. So as far as us in the state of Nevada, we did institute some changes for equine entries. The main change there was to stand up a program to get entry permit numbers for every horse that comes in. And that was done in the essence to try to increase our traceability and make sure those health papers were accurate and we weren't risking spreading the disease any further. We did also include in that a statement that needs to be documented on that health certificate, just stating that the horses have not been on with a positive detection or on an event that has an associated positive horse from it within the last 21 days. So that's our increased requirements for entry into Nevada.
So that's getting into the state of Nevada, though. But each of these different events, different casinos and different hotels and whatnot, they have their own requirements as well, correct? What can people be planning for to get ready for the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, those contestants, or the people headed to the World Series or the barrel races that are happening out there as well?
Sure. Yeah, there's been a bit of confusion. Our phones ring off the hook with those questions. So there definitely are some requirements that are specific to each event. And really my guidance to that is to reach out to those event organizers, please, and make sure that you're meeting their requirements as well. As I stated before, ours are what was stated to enter Nevada, but some of the discrepancy comes in that those events can ask for more things to be taken care of. So you really need to reach out, contestants do, to those each event organizers and make sure they're complying that way as well.
Dr. Rolfe, I feel like a lot of this is just being able to give viewers as much information as possible. As we've continued to talk to veterinarians like yourself here over the last week or so, the big thing is to continue to quarantine as much as they can, as long as they can, to keep these equine animal athletes safe. As far as the folks that are making plans to come to Las Vegas to be a part of those equine events out there, what can you share with these folks to do and good practices to do while they're in Las Vegas competing at these different events? What can they do to try to keep their horses safe while they're there?
Well, I think that there's a long list there. We can just throw out the term biosecurity, and that just ranges from simple things like not sharing equipment. But I really think it's important to minimize your time. Possibly the safest place for your horse would be in the stall. I know we all got to get out, but minimizing your time when horses are commingling and large populations are there, tied up to a fence next to each other, that's just increasing your risk of exposure. I think it's safer to be in the stall and away from the big, commotion and all the horses. Go in for your event and, try to just isolate your horse the best you can.
So we've talked a little bit about how to get there. We've talked a little bit about what we're going to do while we're there to keep our equine athletes safe as well when they're at the events. But when it comes to going home, there's different regulations and needs for different states. How do you anticipate or how do you recommend people get prepared to even leave? It's hard to even talk about going home from the National Finals Rodeo by now in Las Vegas, but it's going to have to happen, and there's a lot of opportunities and possibilities for a lot to go down in that time frame.
Sure. And let's just start with, heaven forbid, we have no problems in Las Vegas. It's still a requirement of each individual state for what their entry requirements will be. Just like we changed ours overnight due to this outbreak, the best thing people can do is reach out to where their destination is when they leave Las Vegas and make sure they're complying with that state's requirements to enter. Yes, that could look different, whether it's we don't have an incident while everybody's out in Las Vegas versus if we do. And so it's going to change. It could change as things go, but the destination state is going to have their own requirements from that state vet office, and you need to make sure you can match those requirements.
Dr. Rolfe, I apologize for this because this probably is going to sound like a dumb question to you, but and I don't want folks at home to think it's a dumb question either. Again, just trying to get as much info out there as possible. But for folks that are trying to maybe update their health papers or anything like that, the questions about 5-day health papers or 7-day, the best advice is for folks to contact their veterinarian and they will have the info for them, maybe what states they're traveling through, any of that. But the best thing to do is for people to reach out to their veterinarian to get the information they need. Is that correct in saying that?
It always is. Even in normal times when we're not dealing with an outbreak like this, that the accredited veterinarians that do that work for those horse owners, they are the ones that will reach out to the destination state and make sure they're meeting those requirements. Because unfortunately, as you guys know, not every state has the same requirements, whether it's for horses, cattle, sheep, goats, anything like that. So that's always where the veterinarian can reach out, get the information directly from us or from the state that they're headed to, and make sure that stuff is all in compliance and correct.
Another question, heaven forbid we have to get to this point, but if something like this were to happen while we're out there, while all these horses are in these stall barns and whatnot and around each other, if a horse were to start showing symptoms, what do you recommend people do first and foremost the second they say, hey, I think my horse has something going on?
So we've been reaching out to most of the event organizers with strong recommendations to implement biosecurity also, but mainly contingency plans isolation, something like that. So yes, they want to notify both the event organizers and contact a veterinarian immediately. Trust me, I'll hear about it quickly enough, but we want to get those horses isolated and segregated from the rest of the population of all the other animals that are at that event.
Doctor, also with these different event specifics going on in Las Vegas, whether it's the National Finals, the World Series of Team Roping, as we mentioned, the Junior NFR, all the different events, the barrel races, the breakaway ropings that are taking place out there. For the most part, most of these events are going to have veterinarians on site. I know you mentioned before we came on for this interview that the fact that some of your friend veterinarians there have been knowing that they're going to have to ramp up some business there for a couple weeks, but that's where folks can go to if they have questions as well. While they're at those events, there will be veterinarians on hand. Is that correct?
Yeah, most of the time. I can't speak for all events that there'll be someone there 24/7, but they'll have a contact posted somewhere of the veterinarians that they've reached out to previously that they know they can respond when needed. Some of the events, yes, we do know. We've all been there. They do have vets that are there 24/7. But yeah, reach out to the organizers and they should have some numbers. But we're going to put a big burden on our Las Vegas veterinarians for sure.
Dr. Rolfe, that is very true. And I just want to say this to veterinarians all across the country that may be listening to us. We've been talking to a handful of you guys over the last week or so. We're very appreciative in the horse world of what y'all do for us all year. But in a situation like this, I know y'all have been inundated with calls and texts and emails and everything trying to answer numerous questions. So thank you for that. Thanks for what you're trying to do to keep our equine partners safe. We really appreciate it. And Dr. Rolfe, we appreciate you joining us on the show today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Dr. Peter Rolfe, the state veterinarian in Nevada, trying his best and everyone else to get things ready for things to start headed to Las Vegas, the National Finals Rodeo. Stay with us. Coming up on Western Sports Roundup, we've got some bull riders that are headed to the National Finals Rodeo for the first time. We will talk to one of those when we come back.
And later on Western Sports Roundup, not only is he a world champion, he's also the reigning American champion in the tie-down roping. We've got a pretty big excitement coming from the American Rodeo. Shane Hanchey will be with us right here on Western Sports Roundup.
Western Sports Roundup brought to you by Resistol, the official hat of cowboys everywhere. Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim. Live boldly. Live in rock and roll denim.
The countdown is winding down, everyone. We are single-digit days away from the 65th annual Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. 9 days, 30 minutes, and just a few seconds away from getting it all kicked off in Las Vegas, presented by Teton Ridge. And as we welcome you back into the Cowboy Channel studios for Western Sports Roundup, the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, Ty, being 9 days away, this is a big deal. And it has been a long road to get to this point, especially in the bull riding.
It is kind of a little two-part subject to share with you here right now. We're on the road to the NFR for the bull riding event, but it's also Resistol Rookie Tuesday, so we like to highlight those rookies. Today, we're going to talk about two different rookies within this event. Not only rookies, which are first-timers to the National Finals Rodeo, but also the 4 bull riders that are vying for that Resistol Rookie of the Year title. One of those guys is Luke Mackey. Now, he squeaked in there at number 15 in the world standings. You see on the season, he's got 138,001, almost 139,000. He was the champion of the Resistol's Stampede at the Ike. He won the Pasadena Livestock Show and Rodeo right there at the end of the season. That was a big help for Luke Mackey to get qualified to his first ever Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, going in the number 15 spot and the number 4 rookie right now.
Consistency is key, and they've all had to battle it out. Now, Jesse Petri has had his card for a while. He went to the PBRs. He got his hands wet, his feet a little dirty in the rodeo road, but he came back and said he was ready to rock and rodeo. He needed that experience, but once he hit the rodeo storm, he took it by storm, if you will. This might be his first year going, Ty, but if you watch the way that he rides, you see what he's done. At the age that he is, he's riding like a veteran. Yeah, he definitely is. Now, he's one of those first-timers to the National Finals Rodeo. He's not necessarily trying for that Resistol Rookie title, but no matter what, he's headed to Las Vegas, the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo for the first time. Another one of those guys headed there for the first trip is Raleigh Johnson. He's going in the number 13 position, 148,000, just a little shy of 150,001 on the year. Just a little better than what he did a year ago. And last season, he ended up number 28 in the world standings. In fact, he was part of that Resistol Rookie race last
last year, we watched him win some big rodeos like the Farm City Pro Rodeo out in Hermiston, Oregon. Raleigh Johnson kind of started off the year pretty darn hot. We watched him there early in the season and well inside the top 10 in the world standings, but no matter what, doesn't matter now. He is headed to Las Vegas.
He started the year strong and finished it strong as well, but so did Mason Moody coming in the number 12 position. We've got him the champion at the San Angelo Extreme Bulls. He also won Corn Palace. He started the year with the win at the Badlands Circuit Finals. Here's the thing, we've been talking a lot about the circuit season right now because that's what we're into. Into this new season, these guys are getting the opportunity to really get their feet wet and get on the road, and especially with these young guys, they're having the opportunity to prove themselves and they have to ride that momentum, and that's exactly what he is. You're watching San Angelo right there, but we're also seeing him coming right down to Las Vegas.
Yes, we sure are. Another one that's one of those Resistol rookies right now. Like I said, this is the event that this title will be up for grabs in Las Vegas. It's the only event title or the only rookie title that we don't have for sure yet. Bryce Jensen is a part of that. Comes in number 11 in the world standings. He's number 3 in that Resistol rookie race. Yeah, we watched him win Bremerton, Washington. Watched him back earlier in the season. I've mentioned this a couple times here on Western Sports Roundup, but watched him do very well there at the early part of the season. Got things kicked off in Fort Worth where he ended up being a walk-up replacement. Man, did he take that to his advantage. He did, and use that to his advantage. And look what it helped him do. Get inside the top 15 of the National Finals.
Yes, it did. We've got another Aussie in our ranks right now, Quinn Anderson. He moved to the States when he was 18 years old. He was inspired by the likes of Troy Dunn and the recent sensation Kai Hamilton. He had his permit back in 2023. Again, kind of like what we talked about with Jesse. He spent some time on the PBR trail, but now he is back when he was ready to get to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. He's been to the PBR World Finals. We've seen him compete well under pressure. We watched what he do at Cheyenne, and I think we're going to see some exciting stuff, especially when it comes down to the Resistol rookie title.
Yeah, definitely. That guy can ride some major bulls right there. We'll see what he can do in Las Vegas. I'm expecting some big things out of Quinn Anderson. We're definitely expecting some big things out of this guy.
Absolutely.
Hudson Bolton goes in number 6 in the world standings, but he is the number 1 man going in this Resistol rookie race. Remember, he is trying to do something that's never been done before. He won the PBR's Rookie of the Year earlier this season, trying to win 2 in 2 different associations in the same year. It's never been done. Now he's trying to do it in the PRCA and be the Resistol Rookie of the Year champion. We will see if he can do it. We watched him win Ellensburg, Washington this year. Hudson Bolton goes in that number 1 spot in that rookie race.
History could be made, but there's a lot of athletes right now. We're seeing the number 1 position with Wasey Shallow right there, $352,000. And on down the list for the athletes we were just discussing and how far away they are from that number 1 position for the first timers. Hudson Bolton, $173,000 away from number 1. Could it be done? I don't know, Ty.
Yeah, it definitely can be done. You look down through there. I mean, even at number 15 with Luke Mackey, sure, he's a little over $200,000 away from Wasey Shallow, but we all know what kind of money is available in Las Vegas over 10 days. It's anybody's ball game. That is going to be a fun event to watch, the bull riding in Las Vegas.
And speaking of these first-timers headed to Las Vegas for the first time in the bull riding, we got the Floridian turned Texan Jesse Petri in the number 14 position. First time to the big show, Jesse. Has it set in yet that you are headed to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo?
You know, I think it's starting to set in, but it does seem like just yesterday we were going to 100 rodeos, you know, every single day, and trying to make it to the national finals. But we're leaving in about a week to head to Vegas, and I think it's finally starting to set in, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Jesse, I want people to understand that may not know from you at home that you've been riding bulls for a day or two. I mean, heck, you've got your PRCA card back in, I believe it was 2017, 2018, somewhere along in there. You got close. You're in the top 30 in the world standings there for a couple years, but you kind of had to learn a lot of stuff along the way. Learn how to enter rodeos, learn which rodeos to go to, which rodeos to stay away from. There's been a lot to get to this point. Kind of explain that now that you're headed to Las Vegas to the National Finals Rodeo for the first trip.
Yes, sir. Yeah, when I turned 18, I took off and started rodeoing and was actually doing pretty good. I stayed on a lot of bulls. I think I was in the top 15 most of the time I was going, and ended up just having some injuries, and then kind of changed up paths after a couple years and went to the PBR. But it sure is fun to be back rodeoing, and I think I'm here to stay.
What do you think it was about the last few years that you kind of took a step away, went to the PBRs? I mean, you've been to the PBR World Finals 3 times, so you've been on a big stage before, been on ranked bowls before, been to these big events, but something about rodeo for you really took off this year. What do you think had to go right for all of this to be so right?
I think it was just changing up the atmosphere for me. You know, I kind of got in a routine at the PBRs of flying in, you know, getting the hotel, going to the building, and then flying back home. And it was that for 4 or 5 years. And I kind of like getting in the truck and camper and driving around the world and seeing the country, you know, just adventuring and being in the outdoors and finding fun stuff to do along the ways. And so that's kind of why I really feel like I love rodeo, and it's because I love the whole aspect of it. And there's just so many big rodeos around the country that are so good, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I'm even looking forward to next year already after the NFR.
Jesse, as we've been talking to you here, we've been watching some of your highlights from this season of 2025 at different rodeos all across the country. There's a look at your stats and what you've done. And of course, going into the National Finals Rodeo in the number 14 spot with 144,000. But with that being said, I mean, you won big rodeos like Jackson, Mississippi. You won the Parker County Extreme Bulls event out here in Weatherford, Texas at their rodeo. Is there anything, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but is there any of those standout moments from this 2025 season that you kind of remember and think back like, oh man, this year could be really good for me. That was a good bull ride. Is there any of those that you can kind of look back on and know that was some good ones?
Yes, sir. I think I made a decision at the beginning of the year, you know, right there in October, that I was going to do this and go to the very end of the season, no matter what, and just see how far I could take it. And some standouts would be Calgary. That was my favorite rodeo of the year for sure. But I think I kind of started winning money right off the bat at the beginning of the year. You know, I had to go to a lot of little rodeos, most of the rodeos that people wouldn't go to, you know, 1,500, 2,000 added, 2,500 added rodeos, because I didn't have any qualifications. And so once they started taking this year's standings, it seemed like it was around Austin, and I got to kind of get in all the big ones from there on out. And then I was really feeling confident about, you know, earning enough money to make the national finals.
You felt comfortable at that really early on, and that's exciting. That takes a really tough mental state as well. So when you look at all these rodeos that you had to get gritty at, go to the smaller ones, get into the bigger ones, and then you really started to get the ball rolling, what do you think it was about all of that? I know you talked about it being fun going down the road, but do you think some of that pressure and the excitement of really watching yourself succeed at every single level has made you more successful this year because you're just having fun?
I think so, you know, and especially like right there at Reno, that was kind of a point in time where it was probably the biggest rodeo that I had been to this year yet. And to be able to ride both my bulls, and especially in the short round, you know, it's big capitalizing in the short rounds at those big rodeos. And after that, I was pretty happy, you know, rolling into the summertime. I knew I just needed to keep doing my job and especially staying on in those short rounds and getting paid there. I knew we had a good shot.
All right, Jesse, so looking ahead to the National Finals Rodeo, which is just a little over a week away from you nodding your head for the first time at those yellow buck and shoots that everybody talks about in Las Vegas. I want to know this from you. If we talk to tie-down ropers or steer wrestlers or team ropers, they're running, making practice runs, they're getting their horses ready, all that kind of stuff that they're doing to get ready for 10 days in Las Vegas. But in the bull riding, I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to say this again, I'm pretty sure you're not getting on 5 or 10 practice bulls every day to get ready for Las Vegas. It's too dangerous an event to do that. What are you doing in these final few days, this last week or two, to get ready for Las Vegas?
Yes, sir. You know, everybody's different on that. I know a lot of guys like to, you know, maybe ride a bull every day all the way leading up to the national finals. For me, I've rode a couple practice bulls in the last couple weeks, and I think from here on out, it's more just kind of sticking to my workout routine that I have every day, riding my horse, doing a little bit of visualizing and, you know, watching some film, just mainly just seeing myself there doing it. And I think it'll play out pretty good.
I like the sound of that. It's like you've done all of these things. You've been riding bulls for so long. You're kind of letting your muscle memory take over and do the rest as long as you stay prepared physically and mentally. But so we've talked about how you get prepared that way. With your first trip to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, it's not only a big deal for you, but it's a big deal for all of the people in your corner. What's your family doing right now? Are there signs being made? Are they making little back number pins? What's going on at y'all's place?
Oh, they're getting excited, nothing too crazy. I try to just kind of look at it as another event, nothing that is too crazy. But I know it's big, and it's going to be exciting when we get to the national finals there in the Thomas and Mack. So right now we're just trying to just get ready, and I don't know, we're ready to head there already. I know that.
Jesse, I want to finish up with this before we let you go. With this being your first trip to Las Vegas, the National Finals Rodeo, have you been talking to any of your other fellow bull riders that have been there, kind of what to expect? I mean, because truthfully, it's 10 grueling days for any contestant at the NFR, but it definitely is in y'all's event. Not only trying to stay healthy, getting on some of the rankest bulls in the country, but 10 days of it. Have you been talking to anybody, kind of getting advice or kind of what to expect for those 10 days?
I don't know, asked a question here or two from some guys that I think have done good at the finals and just see how they go about it. And, the crazy thing is everybody's different. And so, there's people that study the bulls so much, and then there's people that don't really care what it is. They just know that they need to get their job done and stay on for 8 seconds. And so I kind of feel like I'm just going to control what I can, get a good start on each bull and finish strong and ride to the very best of my ability. And we'll just let the chips fall where they may.
It sounds like you're certainly getting as prepared as you possibly can. The first trip is an exciting one. Congratulations again. Welcome to your first trip to the National Finals Rodeo. This is going to be an exciting one.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That is Jesse Petri headed to his first ever Wrangler National Finals Rodeo there in Las Vegas. We invite you folks to stay with us here on Western Sports Roundup. When we come back, we're going to talk a little American Rodeo with a guy that really knows a lot about it. He's the reigning champion in the tie-down roping. Oh yeah, he's headed to another trip for the National Finals Rodeo as well. Shane Hanchey will join us coming up. Cowboy Channel's pre-NFR coverage is brought to you by Ariat. Ready, set, ride in boots and jeans that work as hard as you do. Some breaking news coming out of the American Rodeo. Of course, you may be familiar with this already, but tickets are on sale. You can get ready to go to the American, buy your tickets. They went on sale today. Check it out for the American. You won't want to miss that event coming your way next year. I promise you, it's a good one. It's a fun one right here in the state of Texas. Globe Life Field is where it's held, Arlington, Texas, May the 22nd through the 23rd. That's the big American Rodeo Championship weekend. I'll present it to you by Teton Ridge. So go to AmericanRodeo.com to buy your tickets. And we thought it would be very fitting to visit with a guy that knows a little something, not only about that rodeo, but a two-time champion of the American Rodeo. Of course, he's a world champion in the PRCA as well. Shane Hanchey joins us here on the show. Shane, that rodeo at the American, it's something else. It's just kind of one of those days and kind of put it on your bucket list. But for a guy like you, you've won it twice now. I mean, that one kind of stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah, Ty, it really does. I mean, just the sporting venues alone, in 2021, I was able to win it in Jerry's World right there where the Cowboys play, and then went across the street to Globe Life where the Rangers play ball. So, just being in them venues on them biggest stages, where the rodeo world is on top of you and watching every step. Like I said, I've said a few times in the past, that was probably the biggest moment since my world title moment, as far as just people watching, and it's just an awesome atmosphere.
It's an exciting thing to win events like this, but like you talked about, the atmosphere, the people, the fans, being a big moment. You're a world champion, but what was that moment like? Can you take us back to even the first time that you had the opportunity to win this title and truly what that meant back then even, and you did it again? Yeah,
the first year I won it was probably a little more nerve-wracking just because it counted towards the world standings in the PRCA. So I knew if I could win that rodeo, it put me a big jump ahead for the season and a chance at a second gold buckle. And, that's what it did. It catapulted my season. I went on to have a great regular season that year. I had the number 2 back number for the year. Only Stetson Wright had won more money than I did. So that was something that anytime I look at that back number on my wall, the American Rodeo, it pops right out to me. But being able to win it the second year, honestly, having to be 6'7", because Riley had just went before me and went 6'8", and he's the hottest roper going, no doubt. And so even though I can poke at him a little bit, I beat him the one time this year that it counted for quite a bit.
Shane, young guys, young tie-down ropers that might be watching us here today, they've all done it. They've put themselves in the practice pen and said, okay, I'm going for the National Finals Rodeo right here. I got to win the world title. Or now they can say, I'm backing in the box at the American for $100,000. What do you tell those young guys that are making those runs at home or roping the dummy or whatever it may be? What do you tell them to put themselves in those situations that you've obviously put yourself in as well?
Yeah, I remember pretty vividly that I was that kid, putting myself in those situations in the living room, roping the cowboy toy and tying the tying dummy in front of watching the NFR on my TV. And so, even though back then it was on the VHS tapes, I still put myself in those positions. And the one thing I could just tell kids, keep doing it. Keep putting yourself in those positions mentally, because when the time comes, you'll be prepared mentally and physically. And yeah, that's what's cool about the American. You don't have to be 18 years old now. I mean, you can make your way through the semifinals and all that and go right up against us. And next thing you know, you're backing in there telling yourself that.
One of the things that I've paid a lot of attention to here lately, and I like that you talked about Riley Webb being one of the hottest ropers going down the road right now. We've got a generation of athletes in the tie-down roping that are truly elite. But even to me, and I'm going to age myself, it doesn't feel like that long ago that we were talking about you, about Tough. We were talking about Caleb Schmidt and this new Wolf pack that was going into the Wrangler National Finals, the new kids on the block, if you will. But now that group, you guys are the veterans. You guys are the ones that not only these guys grew up watching and wanting to be like and sitting in their living room and wanting to emulate the runs that you have made, but now they're alongside you. How cool is that to realize that you guys have made that transition from being the young kids on the block to the veterans that have the respect? And I'm going to add to it, you are still hanging with them and beating them.
Yeah, it's that's what I was gonna say. It's made me transition myself too. These kids are younger and faster, and I've had to step my game up the last couple of years and kind of do a little bit what I've not used to do, and in the past is going a little faster and kind of letting my hair down, as you say. And so I really do enjoy them kids, and they say hanging with younger guys, it kind of makes you younger. So I was able to rodeo with Riley this summer, and man, it was a lot of fun. I tell people it kind of rejuvenated me in a sense, just being around him, because he's so much like I was at that age. He, ate, slept, and breathed roping, and that's what it comes down to if you want to be successful and want to win a gold buckle. And so it's really cool. I really enjoy it. And like I said, I'm the oldest calf roper in the field at the NFR, but honestly, I really don't feel that I'm healthy, knock on wood, and I feel like I'm moving good still and got good horses. So I'm excited. And, that's one thing that me and Tough have talked about, for a while, was when we first come in, like you said, that class of me and Tough and Caleb Schmidt and Corey Solomon, Reese Reamer, there's been quite a few of us who was in that graduating class that made the NFR and won world titles. When we came in, them guys that were in their prime were 36, 37, 38 years old, as far as Trevor and Cody and all that. And so we're just kind of getting to our prime that we feel like, even though there's been a lot of central, people thinking that we're old or whatever, because there's so many young kids now that are there qualified for the NFR. But really, at the end of the day, we feel good as ever, and I'm excited.
Shane, you're headed to your 16th National Finals Rodeo. Of course, you've got that world title under your belt as well. Those young guys that you speak of, they kind of put the pressure on you there the last couple weeks of the rodeo season there at the end of September. I want you to talk a little bit about that, because one thing I've always admired about you, Shane, and I've told you this before, you are so good in those pressure-packed situations, whether it's the American for $100,000, whether it's in Las Vegas to win a world title, or pressure-packed situations like you dealt with those last couple weeks of the season to be able to win enough money right there at the end of the year to qualify into your 16th NFR. They put some pressure on you there at the end of the year.
Yes, sir. I mean, that was one thing, you know, it was kind of crazy because from the beginning of September till the end of it, I kind of was telling myself the way it was shaping up, like you're going to be on the bubble. And the one thing it's going to come down to is being at Sioux Falls at the Governor's Cup. And so I did whatever I could to make sure I was there. And then when I got to the Governor's Cup, I knew, you know, there was a lot of money to be won, but also you're also roping against the best guys in the world who's had great years. So I just kind of kept reminding myself that, like you said, I've been in those positions before. I've come from nowhere. I made the finals, you know, like in 2015. And just to kind of trust what I've been doing my whole career. And, you know, luckily it was enough to sneak us in the back door there and come in 15th. But, you know, one quick tidbit that nobody really knows about is after we roped at Ellensburg and I didn't do any good time, I seen that there was a turnout in Lakeview, Oregon. There was only one, and the walk-up replacement rule, you know, is if you get there 2 hours before the rodeo starts, you can walk up, but so can anybody else that's not entering the rodeo. So I drove 8 hours from Ellensburg, me and Strand and my wife and Rhino, and just for the chance of hoping to be able to walk up. Well, lucky enough, I was the only one to walk up with the short round in Ellensburg that day, and I won $2,400. And ended up making the NFR about $1,600. So walking up at Lakeview, Oregon, you know, you could say saved my season.
Wow. That's a God thing for sure. That's an incredible story. I mean, my jaw was just on the floor. You've got a lot of great things that have had to come together to get to this point again. And 16 years later of going to the National Finals Rodeo, it still has to be sweet. But let's talk a little bit about horsepower. Who are you going to be riding? Because you've had a lot of great horsepower this year.
Yeah, you know, Bugsy's been my main mount since I got him back from injury. I started him back at Houston and, you know, obviously won the American on him, and that gives me a lot of confidence headed to the Thomas and Mack. And we just kind of got wrapped up with NFR practice and seeing what horses are going to go out there. So Bugsy's gonna get the call in round one. And my gold buckle fraternity standout rolling on the river. He'll be there for a backup as a 6-year-old, and I'm excited about his future. But looking forward to Bugsy in those 10 nights. And I think the calves are really going to fit Bugsy. They're going to be on the stronger end this year. They're going to really shoot out of there and be running. And so I'm looking forward to riding him. And 2023 Horse of the Year. And the year he won it, he got hurt, you know, in the second go-round out there. So I couldn't ride him after that. So he had 24 off, and we're looking forward to December 2025.
I know you're excited to have that great horse back out there at the Las Vegas, the National Finals Rodeo. Shane, we started off by talking about the American with you. Good luck with that for next season at the American. Good luck to you for 10 days in Las Vegas. I can't wait to watch you out there, and thanks for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
World champion tie-down roper Shane Hanchey joining us here on Western Sports Roundup. Stay with us. We're going to talk some cutting horses. Shane Hanchey knows a little about some cutting horses. The NCHA World Finals, it continues here in Fort Worth. We'll tell you, give you some latest updates here over the last couple of days. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into the Cowboy Channel studios, everyone. We've got some big events happening right in our own backyard. The NCHA Metallic Cat 2025 World Championship Fraternity. Say that 5 times fast. It's an exciting one, and some of the best cutting horses across the country have descended upon Fort Worth to battle it out for some very big titles and a lot of money. And it's already underway, and it will continue through December.
Yeah, it has been going on for a couple weeks now, and it will continue all the way through next week as well before they crown the Open champions over there next week. As far as the World Finals go, all part of that championship fraternity. Here's the non-pro, the second go that just happened a couple of days ago. You're watching Elizabeth Quirk right here on a little horse that she not only bred and raised, her and her husband, but she gets some help from her trainer, Adon Benuelos. They own 1027 Ranch, and of course that horse is called Stem. They were 225.5 to win the second go. They also won the first round with a 228. It's going well for her.
It really has been. She had a good lead coming into this, and if you look at that, where she's holding everything off so far, here's the number 2 through number 5 positions. 4:53.5 in the second go round. Here's the top 5 in the average that we're taking a look at so far after the 2 rounds we've already seen. My Little Denver and Kelsey Johnson as well with that 4:48.5. There's still plenty left to get to, but Elizabeth is really hanging on to the top of that leaderboard. But we also had the open second go as well. Look My Ray, ridden by Cass Tatum. The owner is Milner Enterprise LLC, a 7-year-old gelding by Dual Ray out of SVR. Look at me. I love that name. It's so fun to read these horses' names.
Yeah, this is all, again, part of the World Finals taking place over there, the open division. Cass and this horse, they won second in the first round with a 226, then came back in this go-round in the second go with a 232. Cass came into this World Finals not only by leading on this horse, but he also qualified to the Open World Finals on another horse, a PW Showmaker. So things are going well for Cass, and of course you see it right now. Monty Bunton's just a little bit ahead. There are only a couple points of difference between Monty and Cass and their horses Cat Play and Look My Ray. Monty won the first round. We reported on that yesterday here on Western Sports Roundup. And of course, as you look down through there, Lee Francois and his horse, Preacher's Drinking Again. I love that name, by the way. That's kind of fun. I'm sure they had some fun naming that one. You talking about naming these horses, Elise, just moments ago. That's your top 5 right now after 2 go-rounds to go. And of course, they've still got lots to go there at the NCHA World Finals. So don't forget about that. It will continue. And we will continue here on Western Sports Roundup. We'll get back to talking some bull riding. It was kind of a wild weekend, they called it, over in Wickenburg with the bull riding coming your way. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Katie Lucas and Michael Snow here this week on the show. Well, we're going to take a walk through the history of the National Finals Rodeo. And in the last several decades, Michael, we have seen some all-around dominance. When we talk about that dominance, we start, of course, with the original king of the Cowboys, Ty Murray. Competed in all 3 rough stock events, won 7 all-around titles. 1989 to 94, 1998 were his 7 titles, but there's the new king of the Cowboys that moved in after that.
Yeah, Trevor Brazile came in and quickly established himself as one of the best to ever do it, and now is the best to ever do it. 14-time all-around champion. Obviously, 2002 was his first to 2004. 2006 to 2015, nearly a decade of winning the all-around, and then again, his final all-around title in 2018, and that set the scene for Stetson Wright, the next cowboy to come in, Katie, and dominate the all-around.
Yeah, we go from a couple kings to a superhero. Superman himself, Stetson Wright, now has 5 all-around titles to his name from 2019 to 2023, with a shot of picking up another one in 2025. Michael, when we look at the history of all-around dominance since 1989, there have been 36 all-around titles up for grabs. Between those 3 competitors right there, 26 titles. Pretty amazing to see the dominance, and we're going to talk about that and so much more throughout NFR's history today on Zero In.
Katie and Michael today on Zero In. That's all happening right after Western Sports Roundup. New episodes every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern. And you're going to have it every day during the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. We're going to zero in on all of the fun stuff. But as we welcome you back into Western Sports Roundup, let's talk about some bull riding. We had Wickenburg, Arizona, the Challenge of Champions. Our very own Steve Kenyon was there. A lot of great talent, a lot of great bull power.
Yeah, there definitely was. They called it the Wild Weekend in Wickenburg. There was only one guy to ride 2 bulls. That's why we're going to show you the second round right now. Malachi Schaefer's who you're watching. He makes his home in Tishomingo, Oklahoma. I love the name of his second go-around bull. One of my favorite country singers of all time, the great Heath Whitley. I assume that's how the bull was named. I'm just going out on a limb there and saying that. He was 89.5 in this round to win round number 2. He was 87 in the first round, which actually didn't get the first round win. He ended up winning second in that first round, but it doesn't matter because he was the only man, as I mentioned, to ride 2 bulls. There you see it, 176.5 on a pair of bulls. There's the rest of the guys that got at least 1 bull covered out there, but Malachi was the man that was on top after it was all said and done. And as Elise just told you, Steve Kenyon was there. He had a chance to visit with Malachi after the win.
So Wickenburg, Arizona, we just finished the Wild Wickenburg bull riding. This young man is the champion. This is Malachi Schaefer, who's from Arizona, going to college at Murray State.
Yes, sir.
You were 87 on your first bull, 89.5 on your second bull. Malachi, tell me about that ride, because I thought you made a couple of great recoveries on that ride.
I mean, it's just I had to hustle the whole time. I mean, I got set in a bad position. I just had to keep fighting for get back.
You're 18 years old. You're going to school at Murray State in Oklahoma.
Yes,
tell
sir.
me about the people who've helped you.
I'm just surrounded by a good group of guys from here and around here, and then my family, friends. That's about it.
Yeah, 87 and 89.5, or 87 and 89.5. Two great bull rides tonight. Is that as good a night as you've ever had riding bulls?
Yeah, 89.5 is probably my best score. So
yeah, cool.
Yes,
Malachi,
sir.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Malachi Schaefer, the champion of the Wild Wickenburg bull riding.
I don't know about you, Elise, but I hope that young bull rider right there makes it big someday, and we can go back and show him that phone interview that Steve Kenyon and him did,
Right.
talking about how, well, yeah, I think 89.5 is probably my biggest ride so far, just a young 18 years old.
So far, these are some of the best guys we're going to see coming up, and a lot of great bull power like we talked about, but that's what we had in Wickenburg, Arizona. We're not done yet. When we come back next on Western Sports Roundup, we'll wrap it all up and tell you about our top 3 stories of the day presented by Veterson. Stay with us. You're watching Western Sports Roundup.
I love the fact that we can end the show today with some good news for you rodeo fans. A lot of you have been following National Finals Rodeo qualifier barrel racer Anita Ellis, her wreck that she had just a couple of weeks ago, hitting her head on the pavement. She's been in the hospital, but folks, that right there is a shot of her headed home. That is good news for Anita Ellis, headed out of the hospital. And of course, she is going to start outpatient therapy, as you see right there. Her husband, Brandon Ellis, who's been keeping everyone so very well updated, said this was the biggest stride in our recovery yet. And it honestly feels like a miracle in motion. Man, that's some big words. Through all of it, Anita keeps reminding us that it's going to be okay. Isn't she right about that? Of course, that is Brandon Ellis and Anita's husband. That is some great news to share with you folks, that she's headed home to continue her recovery. Things are headed in the right direction.
I couldn't agree more, Ty. God is good. Now let's get into some of our big stories we've had today, presented by Veterson. Our top 3 stories of the day. Clean, treat, heal. We brought to y'all's attention that the all-in barrel race and breakaway roping, as well as the tie-down roping affiliated with that, have been canceled. You can go to their website and reach out to them on social media for more information on that.
And we took you to the road to the NFR, talking about the bull riders, the first timers. 7 of the 15 are headed to Las Vegas for the first time ever. One of those, Jesse Petri, who joined us right here on the show, kind of talked about not only the season he's had, but getting ready for Las Vegas. And the tickets went on sale today for the American Rodeo, coming your way next May. The reigning champion of that event in the tie-down rope, and joined us here on the show, Shane Hanchey, not only talking about the American Rodeo, but of course also talking about headed back to his 16th trip to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. Pro Fantasy Rodeo, there's a big show coming your way on the Cowboy Channel, all part of our Thanksgiving program this coming Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Time. You won't want to miss that. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for Elise Sutherland. I'm Ty McClary. Thanks for watching Western Sports Roundup.